1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, camera's rolling, the sound is good. Ready to go. Is it worth it to buy the new Canon EOS RP in 2021? If you're looking for a full-frame mirrorless camera under $1,000, this camera is for you. So it's been 2 months now that I'm using this new camera, and I'm really satisfied with this new camera. So let's review it together, but first, what's in the box? New camera, I'm so excited. Okay, this is the EOS RP. So now we're gonna unbox this and we'll see what's inside the box. So there is a lot of papers and things we don't read. I mean, look at that, wow. Then what do we got? We got some things to charge and the charger for the battery. Okay, that's nice. And what we all want is the camera just here. EOS RP. And this is something use the old lens with this new camera. Okay. Camera. Oh, there she is. Look at that, man. That is beautiful. The EOS RP. So, like I said in the beginning, this camera is a full-frame mirrorless camera under $1,000. Having a full-frame camera under $1,000, that's a really good point. Plus, this camera is using the new Canon RF lenses. So you have a better quality, you can take better photos, stabilization and everything is better and great than the old Canon EF lenses. So that's really great. And you can, if you buy an adapter, you can use the old EF lenses too. For example, I have a 50mm here. And if I'm using this adapter, I can put it on my new RF camera. That's just insanely good. So you just don't have to use the RF lenses. You can use the RF lenses and the old EF lenses. And most of the time this adapter is included in the box when you're buying the camera. So this is even better, and if it's not, or if you're buying a camera without the adapter, you can buy it separately for $100. Then this camera has a USB-C to transfer images or things from your camera to your PC, so that's really great. There is a microphone plus headset jack, so you can plug a microphone like I have, and you can also plug a headset so you can hear what you're recording in real time. And you also have a swivel touchscreen, so that's just insane to make vlogs, to make videos, or to just take photos in some complicated situations. That's just insanely good. Because some other cameras don't have that, and that's a bad point, I think, when you don't have one. And finally, the autofocus is just wow. And with the new RF lenses, the autofocus is just so quick. I mean, you just have to move and the autofocus will just follow you. That's just insane. We can do a test right now. Look at that. I mean, that's just so quick. You don't have to. You're just starting to move and baff. You're completely in focus. I love that. To make videos, that is perfect. You hear me? That is fucking perfect. And finally, the last thing to make a transition to the drawbacks, the 4K. Because this camera can record up to 4K 24 frames per second, which is really great on paper. But in reality, the 4K is cropped by 1.7. Yeah, you all hear me? 1.7. So if you're recording in 4K 24, it's like you're using not a full-frame camera, but you're using an APS-C sensor. So this is good and bad. This is good because it's cropped by 1.7 and you are in 4K, you can zoom in the image a lot more than if you're just recording in 1080p. But that is not cool if you want to have a wide angle. And the second thing that is clearly not cool at all, it's the autofocus. You're not using a DualPixel very fast autofocus. You're using another system which is really long, like with the old Canon camera, like years and years ago. So you have an autofocus, but you have to take time, okay? Because it's not gonna be as quick as this DualPixel autofocus, believe me. But for me, the 4K 24 is only here to make some cinematic videos. Or sometimes if you're in a studio like this and you don't have to move a lot and the autofocus will be okay, you don't really need one, so it's gonna work. But if you're moving or if you're making a vlogs, do not use the 4K. It's not gonna work. It's gonna be blur and it's gonna be bad for your video. Or you need someone behind the camera adjusting manually the autofocus and be sure that everything is correct for your video. Then be careful with the burst mode if you're making some sport photos or if you need to take a lot of photos. This camera has a burst mode up to 5 frames per second. So you will definitely not compete with an 1DX Mark II or 3, which is an automatic rifle. And the last thing that is complicated for me with this camera is to choose where you want to make the focus. If you're using the viewfinder, you can use the screen, so you have your camera, you can use the screen and choose where you want to make the focus. So this is quite great, but it's also a little bit complicated and not so ergonomic to do that. And if you're using the touchscreen, it's much easier, but sometimes when you're selecting something and you want to make the focus on this, it's not taking exactly what you want to make the focus on. And sometimes you're taking a photo, you're like, okay, I want to make the focus on this, and the camera will say, no, you want to make the focus on all of that, or the thing just behind what you're selecting. And sometimes that's boring. I'm like, why don't you want to make the focus where I want to? Come on! So this camera is really great if you want to have a full frame mirrorless camera at $1,000 using the new Canon RF lenses. That's extremely great. But be careful if you want to use the burst mode, or if you want to use the 4K all the time. Or sometimes if you're making some photos and some specific photos and you want to choose a point where you want to make the focus, sometimes it's a little bit difficult, but not all the time. And if you're using the autofocus, everything's great. And if you're using the manual focus, everything is great. So I really love this camera for the photo. That's really great. It's making some really great photos. And for the video, this camera is almost perfect, except for the 4K. So that's my point of view on this new camera. And I really suggest you, if you're wondering what to do, what to buy a camera or not, or which lenses you want to buy, etc. I really suggest you to buy this camera and to invest in a really good lens. So in my example, I'm using the Canon EOS RP and I bought a 24 to 105mm lens. This lens is really convenient and really great. Maybe I will make a video on it. And I really suggest you to do the same, not to buy a OK lens with a really great body. I really suggest you to do the opposite. Buy a OK body and a really good lens. Okay, so I think I said everything. If you have some specific question about some things on this camera that I don't talk about in this video, you can let me know in the comments and I will answer you and tell you more about some specific things. I really hope this video will help you to buy your new camera or to upgrade your current camera. And I see you in your next video. Bye!